Hello, everybody. Thank you for showing up. My name is Jerry, and you're watching 3DHP, my weekly live stream. And today I've got an awesome guest on. I've got Bryan Vines on from BV3D. He's a great guy, and let me bring him in so we can talk to him. Hey, Bryan.
Hello, 3D
How you doing?
friends. Doing well. How are you?
Oh, pretty good. Just been waiting to get you on for a while, and you're an awesome person, and thank you for coming. I really appreciate it.
Not a problem. I'm having a good time so far.
Got rid of my YouTube chat. Let me go back. I see we have Andrew S. here, 3D Print Viking. Hello, Doug. And I got to pull YouTube chat back up because I lost it.
I got mine up.
Oh, here it is right here.
John Strand and Betty Boop and Andrew S. and Milan Wallace and Doug.
There it is. Hello, everybody that came. Oh, boy, let me sit down for a minute. My back is kind of tight. When I do these weekly live streams, for some reason, I tense up and get nervous. But last night, when I on a 3-hour stream, it didn't bother me. When I pop in on Hangouts, it doesn't bother me. For some reason, when I go live and it's counting down, it just happens. But everybody on Facebook and YouTube, thank you for coming. I really appreciate it. Bryan appreciates it. And let's get going. So we said hi to everybody in chat. Oh, boy. Anyway, I want to say thank you and congratulations. You hit 10,000 subs last week. That's really awesome.
Thanks so much. I've been working on that for like 2.5 years now.
Yeah, I got on YouTube way back in like 2010. I didn't do much. And then as of lately, I've been trying to do more and more videos and, you know, be out in social media more. So I'm slowly growing. So I think at some point it just starts taking off. I don't know when that happens, but at some point it probably just takes off.
Yeah, you're at 16 or 1700 now, aren't you?
Yeah, almost 1700.
Yeah, it'll start. It kind of grows, not quite exponentially, but the more you get, the more you got, or the more you got, the more you get. Because there's more, you know, you got more people that are watching and potentially recommending your videos to others. So it grows. For me, it's been growing pretty slowly, but it's been growing steadily. So finally crossed that 10K barrier.
Yeah, you put out a ton of great content. I love your videos. I haven't seen all of them, but I've watched most of them.
Yeah, don't watch the early ones. They're kind of cringy.
Yeah. Yeah, I used to do a lot of time-lapse videos, and I had sound that was imported from whatever movie slicer I was using, and it's corny. It's one track over and over and over, and people hated it, but I'm not going to go dump the video to get rid of it, so they just have to deal with it. And I had a dog bark. Oh, well. So is Jets or dogs. It's always something. Anyway, if I could ask you the first question here, what I ask everybody every week, what got you interested in the 3D printing and about when?
I had seen articles like on the web and stuff about 3D printing, and I thought it was kind of interesting, but I didn't really fully understand the concept of how it worked. But I got to reading about it, and my interest just kind of built, and I always thought that the 3D printers were thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, and nobody could ever afford one. And then I got to looking at them a little bit more, and I saw that they were on Amazon, and I saw that they were in like the $300, $400, $500 range, and that kind of tipped me over the edge. And so I bought a Monoprice Maker Select Plus for about $350, I think, back in July of 2017, and that was the beginning of the end.
So my first printer was a CR10. They had probably been out 6 or 7 months. So whatever year it was, they came out like 3.5 years ago, right around the end of July is when I got my first CR10. And then I thought, well, I got a 3D printer. I'm happy. But then a month or two later, I justified why I needed the second one, because I want to print more stuff on more printers. And I've just kind of got carried away since then. Now I don't need any more other than things I get for review, which I'll sell, donate, or, you know, do something with because I got too many printers. So resin printers, I need more. I want to get me a giant resin printer, like a frozen, I'm not sure what it's called, but a big resin printer.
Yeah, I'm too much of a slob. I don't trust myself around resin.
Yeah.
I don't have a neat work area. I don't have a place to really do it. I've got cats and the kid, and I make messes well enough on my own that I don't need resin splashing around on everything. So I think I'll avoid that for a while until I can maybe get a dedicated area set up for it.
Yeah, Scott Worthington says that he has 40 plus and wants more.
Yes,
Okay.
he has lots of printers.
And he has 5 resin printers. Wow. Yeah, I've got the one, Scott, the small one. And right around Christmas, hopefully, when Elegoo comes out with their bigger one, they just pre-released, I'm going to buy it. And then I'll either keep the smaller one or I'll get rid of it and move on.
Okay.
So anyway, I'd like to show a couple of your prints here if I could, and you can talk about it, a little bit about them.
Sure, go ahead.
Hamster wheel.
That well, it looks like a hamster wheel. It's the Squirrel Cage Fan, or the blower part of a portable air conditioner. And I had bought one to put up in the attic. I bought it secondhand, and it worked for about 5 minutes, and that fan broke. So the original part was an ABS injection molded part, and it broke. And there wasn't any way to fix it. There wasn't any way to buy replacement parts for it, because the company that sells them just sells them. And if you have a problem with it while it's under warranty, they fix it. And if it's out of warranty, you buy another one, which kind of sucked, but that's how it was. So I sat down in Tinkercad and I modeled up that fan, and I printed it in PETG. That's PETG that you're seeing there, because I hoped that it would withstand the heat on the condenser side of the coils. And as you can see, with centrifugal force and heat, it didn't survive. It ran for about 10 or 15 minutes before the heat overwhelmed it, and it did that. So now I have a fancy candy bowl.
Wow. Yeah, I thought those 2 different prints until I realized, yeah, it looks like it did melt.
That's exactly what happened to it. I tried again printing that fan in ABS, and that was like my only ever ABS print, and it came out okay. But even that started to warp in that environment. So nothing that I could print was going to work in that air conditioner. So I ended up having to chunk it.
Yeah. Gary G, how you doing? Let me jump on in here to another print. This is interesting.
Yes, that's one of my favorite print fails. That's the first Benji that I printed on my Prusa Mark III, and I had all of the features enabled on the printer. So the collision detection and all of that stuff that was supposed to be able to notice when stuff like that happened, and it didn't notice. So something happened, and I had a layer shift on the x-axis, and remarkably, that I haven't done anything to that print. It managed to finish. I didn't cut anything off of it. There weren't any parts that really drooped. I mean, there were a little, but not that really hung down. And so now I have a convertible Benji. Yeah,
I've had good prints fail like that, and then I cut them, and I glue them back together and do a little putty work, and then I'm able to save the print. But that's interesting just to keep it like that.
Yeah, well, I was surprised that it actually recovered, sort of, and it finished the print.
Scott says that's cool when it's warped. Oh, he's talking about the other print.
Yeah.
I'm behind on chat, guys. Here we go. The slide top Benji, it's the newest spade now. Yeah, I'm going to do a sunken Benji. I'm going to print some Benjis out that are half sunk, like they're going down in the water nose first, or, bow up, bow down. And that'll be my new Benji.
Just rotate it upside down and make a capsized Benji. Although I guess you don't really need to do that. You can just find the Benji that you stop halfway and flip it upside down.
Yeah, in Creality last week, I think I showed it in my live stream last week, or one of my videos. I got a t-shirt and a hat from Creality 3D, so that's pretty cool. And I'm currently testing the Fill-A-Dry S1 from Sunlu, and they sent me a roll of black and white PLA that I'm currently testing. I'm working on a video for both of those. And then I have some G-Tech, I think it's G-E-E-E Tech PLA. I have a blue and a red that I'm going to be doing a video on in a few days. And then I've got some other stuff coming in the mail. So I'm, got a lot of stuff coming in the mail from different people and more videos to come. So I'm trying to rock and roll and get out some good content.
Yeah, I like that Fill-A-Dryer that Sunlu sent me one, and I kind of did a review on it. And then they did their Kickstarter, so I went ahead and bought it there. I saw that my credit card got charged a week or so ago, so I guess that'll be showing up before too long.
Wow.
I like having that thing because basically what I do is I've got all my filament dried out now. So when I get done printing something and I want to put a spool away, I'll just throw it in that overnight and then get it out of that dryer in the morning and put it in a Ziploc bag with the desiccant.
Yeah, one thing I was wondering, all of our filament comes in a bag and it's got desiccant in it, but when it's made and it's rolled, we really don't know how much moisture is already in it before that little tiny packet of desiccant gets in there, and you may have wet filament coming to your house. So if you print and it's stringy, well, go ahead and dry it out because you never know when you might need to dry it out when you get it. So anyway, because from a humid climate. And I think did I already ask you how many printers do you have or how many have you owned, and do you have a favorite? Did I ever go there?
I haven't ever gotten rid of any of them. And I have more printers than I have room for right now. So I need to work on my attic space where I've got a little work area up there, so that I can get some of them set up. I've only got like one or two that are actually broken. The rest of them work. I just need to find something to do with them and put them to work. I've probably got 14 printers now. Not nearly as many as Scott. Scott has like all the printers. I have some of the printers.
I think, Scott, weren't you on Creality a couple of weeks ago and you pulled up a box of hot ends and you had like MKH, you had like 20 or 30. I believe that was Scott, right? I'm not sure if that was Scott I was seeing then, but he had an unbelievable amount of filament and printers around him. He said I'm greedy. Yeah, that was him. Okay. Yeah, I remember. It was the middle of the night. I dropped in chat. I get up during the night to use the restroom, and I popped on Creality, and Scott was on there, and he just had he looked like a business. He had so much stuff around him. He looked like he was a business. So, but anyway, I have a lot of parts and extras. I mean, if a printer breaks down or two break down, I should have enough parts to fix it, but I don't have tons and tons of stuff.
Yeah.
So, but I always try to buy extra stuff because, Amazon will ship to my house in 1 or 2 days here in Vegas, but when it breaks down, I need it running right now. I don't want to wait 1 or 2 days to get the part. So anyway, let me move on to another photo here. Let's see what we got. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. That's my first printer. And I had some orange filament, and this was taken in October of 2017. So I had already started trying to mod the printer, and I had put the front mounted Z braces on it and a different fan duct on it, and kind of dressed it up for Halloween, I guess you might say, because it was orange and black. So that's my first printer, and that's before I did any electronics mods to it. So that was just a couple of printed mods that I stuck on it.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah, down at the bottom of it where you see that kind of green thing, that is a little dumpster that I printed. That was one of my earlier prints. So that little dumpster was for the nozzle squiggles. The way the slicer for that printer purged the nozzle before a print, it would push out 10 or 15 millimeters of filament with the nozzle about 20 millimeters up. And so it would just make a little squiggle. And then it would move to the starting position to start printing the skirt. So I would grab the little squiggle and I would put it in the dumpster. But if the squiggle was particularly artistic, then it would go in that tiny, tiny vase that you see at the top left.
Okay.
And I may have another picture of that. Yeah. If you
the dumpster, the truck picks up and dumps over top of the black lid. Okay, I see it.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
So one of the pictures I sent you was a close-up of that little vase.
Here we go. I was wondering what that was.
Yep. That's about an inch tall.
Okay, I seen that and I'm thinking, why is all the filament in the top? Now I know. Okay.
Yeah. Those are just little filament squiggles, and it would make a squiggle and then it would have a stem. They look like little flowers, so I stuck them in a vase.
Yeah, that's real tiny. Very nice. Very nice. Hello, Brandon. How you doing? Let's see. LOL. That's one of these things I really like about the CJ Maker Artist D. It has a built-in catches like that.
Yeah, the Artist D is a new printer that JG Maker's coming out with. It's an IDEX printer. And underneath when the nozzles are parked on either side, there's a little, what they call a brush box. So it's got a little bristle brush, a little brass bristle brush that the nozzle comes across, and a little box to collect the ooze. So when it's time for that nozzle to come out and print, it wipes the nozzle on the way out to the print.
Well, that's nice. But what isn't nice is when people have their printer turned on and they take a wire brush to clean the hot end out and they short everything out. So they run it across the heater and the thermistor and tear everything out. I usually take a razor knife with it when it's turned off. I get it hot, and then I take a razor knife and kind of scrape things off of it and put any sock back on it.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody has any questions in chat, please ask. The man himself is here.
Where?
Yeah.
I think Doug was asking earlier if I still use that Soval SV01, and the answer is yes. Oh, yes. That's my first computer, way back in 1981, 1982. That had a whopping 1 kilobyte of RAM.
Wow.
I had enough forethought or foresight at the time that I ordered that. Well, I didn't order it. My parents had a $150 limit for us kids for Christmas. And the computer as a kit was available for $100. And for another $50, you could get a 16 kilobyte RAM pack that snapped on the back. So I had my parents order me the computer as a kit for $99 and the RAM pack for $49.99. And that was all I got for Christmas that year. And the fun thing about it was that I was expecting to have to assemble the kit, but the demand for the kits was so high, they ran out of unassembled kits. So what they ended up doing was sending me one of the factory built machines for the price of the kit, which was nice. So I didn't have to mess it up before I ever got it working.
Yeah, on my printers, I have, when I first bought the one Creality, like 6 months after they came out, I had to have another one a month or two later. So I have two CR10s, and then I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Ender 3s. I think 2 or 3 of them are pros. One's in the box that I bought from an auction house that it needs a new control board on it. Then I have the Hypercube by ZYLTECH, 400 by 400 by 500. And then I have the new Ender 3 V2 that Creality sent me to review. It's a great little printer. And then I have a TiVo Tarantula Pro they sent me last year to review, and it's usually my go-to quite often. When I need to get a quick print done, I'll go to the TiVo. It prints great, and I've had no issues with it whatsoever. And then I have go ahead.
My go-tos are usually my Enders these days.
And I had, let's see, what happened? My one Ender 3 I was printing on another day. It had a thermistor error, so I got to check out my wiring on it. It had a thermal runaway, and that used to happen to me quite often. And then all of a sudden, for like 2 years, it went away. Things got better. But I don't like the little tiny wire that you got to put the set screw in, because it's so easy to crush that, or it comes loose, and you got to tighten it. I much rather having, like on my Hypercube, the cartridge thermistor. Yeah. It's much better. I have no issues with those whatsoever.
Is that more of a V6 type hot end where you've got the thermistor cartridge
it's a clone V6
that goes up through the block?
Yes. And I've got a Capricorn, or I think I got TH3D tubing on it. It's called Tough Tube. It's like Capricorn. I don't know. I use Tough Tube from TH3D, and I use Capricorn. His tubing is a little bit lighter. Capricorn's a little bit darker in color. So I kind of get mixed up on them. And then one of my Ender 3s, a man got a hold of me on Facebook, one of my Facebook friends. He was on my stream last year. And I got an Ender XL kit. I went 500 millimeters tall with it on the one Ender. So I think you can see it on the corner here. That's behind the box. There we go.
There it is. The Ender skyscraper.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't print with it much, but it does work pretty good. What's bad about it, though, is that the bed's moving back and forth, and it gets real tall. You get a little bit of wobble. You got to be careful. Where a Hypercube, the bed only goes down. It doesn't move around. So that's what's cool about a Hypercube. The hot end just jumps around everywhere.
Yeah, for bigger prints, you kind of need a bed dropper.
Hello, Mike. You do it. How you doing?
Got Mike, and we got John, and we got who else we got? We got Red Light out there. 3D Medic Vince was in there a little while ago. I saw him.
Yeah, Mad Monkey's here. Scott Worthington. Brandon Knapp, that's my son. Betty Boot 45 is in the bedroom. That's my wife. John Strand. Michael Castle. Mylan Wallace. Andrew S. Doug. And yep, I think that's just about everybody. And then everybody on Facebook that I can't see. One person on Facebook left a comment and they said hi, but they didn't have your name. You have to click above the post on Facebook. You got to click that little line there to accept whatever from Facebook. That way, when you type in the next screen, I can see who it's from, the Facebook name. And Lewis. Yeah, 2 days in a row. I streamed last night. I was going to go on for about an hour, and I was on for 3 hours. So Hangouts take a long time, and then somebody else will pop in, and you don't want to just say, well, I'm getting off, so you want to let them say what they want to say. So that's kind of, I had a lot of fun doing it. So every week I'll have guests on like Bryan, have great people on like Bryan every week, and then I'll also do a Hangout stream. And then if I get bored around the house, which I usually don't, I'll have another one. So Bryan Doan. Okay. If I said your name wrong, I hope I pronounced it right. I'm not good with names. Let's move on to another cool picture here. Okay, these two I put together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had done a video about things that you can do to recycle things, and part of the video was this, where I basically designed a when's the haircut coming? I don't know, man. So these little Pringles containers are a good size for storing stuff, but of course they don't have lids. They can't stack or anything like that. So I took the idea of a parts bin and I made a little drawer that the Pringles container will snap into. And then I built the box around that. So you can kind of take those pieces. I've got them in Tinkercad. You can make them as many wide and as many tall as you can fit on your printer. And you just print out the little drawer, the little flat parts, and then you snap the empty Pringles things in, and you've got parts bins. And then the other thing, the other thing was from an eSun filament spool. And somebody had made a four drawer spool hole or spool container system, I guess you could say, that had those 4 compartments, and they just kind of hinge out. And somebody else on Thingiverse had designed little inserts to fit in those swing out doors. So I put a whole bunch of electronics components in there for my electronics videos, and I can just kind of flip through there and lift one tray out and see the next tray under it and get the parts that I need and put them back. And it's a nice little tray. It spins. It has printed bearings, so it'll roll when you just kind of spin it around. And you can get to the drawer that you need. And if you have more than one spool, it's got some parts that you can print that you can actually stack them up. So I thought it was kind of neat.
The Creality Slicer, is it best for their printers? Well, I've used S3D for 3.5 years. I've never touched Cura. When I got to Ender 3 V2, I went in and downloaded the Creality Slicer, which is a version of Cura, as if I was a new user. And I truthfully knew nothing about Cura, and I was printing perfectly with it. So it worked perfectly fine for me. Do you have anything like to add to that, Bryan?
The only thing I'd like to add to that is that it's just a skinned version of Cura. And the funny thing is when I ran it, when I ran the version that was included on the SD card, the first thing it did was go, hey, there's an update available for Cura. And it says that in the product that's branded as the Creality Slicer. So you go, okay, well, let's update it. And it goes and downloads the new version of Cura. So you go and you run the updated thing, and now you're just back to basic Cura. Mm-hmm. So the only reason I think that Creality did that was so they could control the printer profiles. But why not just make printer profiles available for Cura? And then you've got it covered. And you don't have to worry about confusing new users who run your slicer that wants an update, and you update it, and now you've got some different slicer.
Yeah, there's a few things on that Creality Cura I had to Google because I didn't know where they were. I couldn't find them. And there's a few things I wanted to change that I couldn't. I had to Google it because I completely didn't know nothing about it. So it was kind of an honest video when I done a video and say, well, I know nothing about Cura, and I didn't. So, but typically I always use S3D. I run Octoprint, except on the TiVo. And on the TiVo, I grab the SD card, I walk 10 feet and I stick it in. Usually I'm too lazy and I want to monitor everything through Octoprint, and I can tape it, do a time lapse or whatever if I need to. I usually tape it. So let's see what a question here.
Yeah, a lot of printer manufacturers include like an old version 3 of Cura. And I don't know why, because they could just get whatever's current at the time that they're manufacturing the printer and stick on the card instead of something from 4 years ago.
I was wondering, do you have a favorite print, if I could ask? That was one of my questions here. Or is every print a favorite print and that's why you printed it?
That's a good question. I don't know. I guess one of my current favorites is that Mandalorian helmet that I did in the Rainbow PLA.
Yeah, I've got that right there.
That one turned out really good. I like the fact that I can actually stick it on my head and it fits.
Was that at 100% or did you have to increase it a little bit?
No, that was 100%.
Okay.
I have the right size head.
I did the one from Nico. I have a big head, and I think I upsized it to like 110 to be safe, because I printed a couple of his Iron Man helmets a while back, and they were too small, and I upsized them. They were too small, and they didn't have a removable back, like a lot of helmets do, that fit your face tight. The back you can put magnets on it. His helmets that I had weren't like that, but that came out really nice. I like that rainbow color. Yeah, definitely don't paint it. That's really unique being like that.
Yeah. Most of the ones that I've seen printed, people put a lot of work into finishing them and making them look like the real thing.
Mine, I had a few layer lines here and there. I went ahead and chromed it. I hit it with primer, rattle can primer out back. Then I go high gloss black, and then I grab some chrome in my airbrush and really lightly chrome it, because if you paint it too heavy, basically it turns silver. So on a high gloss black, when you chrome, you got to do a real light coat, and then it will pop. And then people complain, well, why didn't you take the time to sand it? I see layer lines. Actually, they're not that bad. They're real minor. It looks good. So I just left it. So, sometimes I sand. Most of the time I don't. If it looks good, I usually go with it. And then my eyes are getting old and bad. So a lot of things that look good to me, once you take a picture and you post it online, as you know, it's like, wow, that looks terrible. Let's take another picture of it, because sometimes the camera sees things that you don't see with your eyes quite often. So, I mean, I might take 4 or 5 pictures to get one good picture of something that's worth posting. And here's this looks like a tack, which you probably put a magnet in that, right?
That is exactly right. I've actually got several of those. I did that for a video. I just thought it was kind of a fun print, and it was a way to show using basic shapes in Tinkercad to make something interesting.
Yeah, if it had a round ball on the top, that'd be a pawn for chess. So that looks very nice.
Yeah, and those are about that big. So they're about twice normal size. Kind of comically oversized. And you just glue a neodymium magnet in the base of it.
And we've got Wham Bam in the house.
Yay! Hi, Peter.
Hello, Wham Bam. How you doing? Thank you for just stopping in, Peter. I might be getting some goodies in the mail soon from Wham Bam. I'll be doing a video here soon on that.
You're going to do one of the resin flex plates?
Yeah, possibly. And whether they include anything else, I don't know. But the more they include, the more videos I'll do. And like I say, I post all over social media. So, we'll see what happens. So, but I really appreciate it. Brian finds layer lines charming. Well, there's been a few printers lately that have had some nice tall layer lines, and actually they look pretty good, because that might be the new thing. Instead of making everything perfectly smooth, starting to show off layer lines. As people get bored with the same old thing, they start like laser. Jim from EduTech got into using a laser printer on tiles. He just did a video on make them awesome, beautiful. But I have a CNC out in the garage that I haven't finished. I need to do the firmware and stuff on it, and so I can start carving in wood with my MP CNC from V1 Engineering for their design. And once I get that finished, and I guess after that, I'll be getting into lasers. So, and then whenever I get the money one of these days, I'm going to buy a giant resin printer so I can make much larger statues. Let me go on here to the next picture. This is a neat one.
Yep, that is the light switch over here in my study. I wanted something that looked kind of industrial and kind of steampunk. And that was one of my earlier designs. That was also from around October of 2017. So within a couple of months of having gotten my printer, I was sitting in Tinkercad doing stuff like that.
Take care, John.
Bye, John.
And here's another one.
Yep. I had a thing for making light switch panels. I wanted a way to have an iPhone in there for my HomeKit stuff. And that's what I came up with. I measured the iPhone and I took the kind of the same base design that I had for the other light switch and extended it. And so that that particular iPhone, I have a power cable for it that's got kind of an L shape to it. So there's room for it to fit inside there. And I took one of those little tiny 1-inch cube power adapters that Apple ships with those things. And I soldered some wires onto it and heat shrinked where the prongs were so that it wouldn't short out on anything, and just kind of wire nutted it into power. And there's room behind the light switch for it to fit the actual switch mechanism. So I've got it all in there. I didn't have to cut anything out of the wall. The iPhone sits flush up against the wall, and the wall plate is a little bit thicker than standard, but not by much.
Any of you out there that use StreamYard, I wish they would have a new feature where I could have the pictures on one side and chat on the other, so I didn't have to switch back and forth between chat and pictures, where I can control them all at once. That'd be really nice. So StreamYard, if you're watching, we need another option where I can, pull two tabs up at once. And here's something here very interesting. Wow.
Yep. That's tall. That's 400 millimeters. That's actually this guy right here. This is a vase mode model that I found on Thingiverse a while back. I think it's just called Rocket Plane. And this took 5 hours to print, which was not bad. I set the nozzle width to 0.7 millimeters on a 0.4 millimeter nozzle.
That's beautiful.
So that I can get a nice thick wall on it. But yeah, 5 hours later I had this. So I think it's pretty cool.
Very nice, very nice. And what printer is that on there? Oh,
that's
your
an
artillery.
Yeah, the Sidewinder X1. So that is scaled up to the maximum print height that this printer will do. And if you look at that spool that's right above it, that's about how much filament that I had left, a few meters left, and that was it.
Did you have a filament runout sensor on that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good.
Yeah. I was hoping that it would finish before it triggered the runout sensor, and it did. So I was happy about that. This is actually going to be a test print for the review video on that printer. So
that's very nice. Do you have any other hobbies, Brian, if I could ask? Any other things you're interested in?
I used to have woodworking as a hobby, and then I got a 3D printer.
Building cabinets, or what kind of things are you building?
I've built kind of a stand that I put on my desk that held a monitor arm so that I could have a monitor up above the desk a little bit, but not actually have to put a hole in the desk to do it, because I've got a kind of a big desk and I didn't want to have to clamp something way far away on one side to have the monitor towards the center. So I made something that would just sit on the desk, and I could stick a power adapter in and hide it and have the monitor arm attached to that. Other types of things, it's mostly practical type things that I would do, like cabinet drawer pullouts for the kitchen. Mm-hmm. So that instead of just having, you open a cabinet and you've got a shelf that is only sticks out halfway, and then you've got kind of room in there. This lets you use the whole cabinet, so because you can put stuff in there and pull it out to get to what you need, push it back in, pull the top drawer out to get to what you need. But I haven't really done much of that in the last few years.
Yeah, I worked construction for 35 years here in Vegas. I was a union laborer, retired, forklifts, water trucks, tool guy, core driller. Done a lot of, on the MGM, me and my crew of 6 drilled over 30,000 holes when they built it, and all the precast and all the rooms and all the 4 towers. Cool. And then I was a delivery driver for many years. I'm a good, mechanic, backyard mechanic, basically. My brother and dad were carpenters, so I can pretty much do anything and everything. I do not like hiring anybody to do anything for me. If I can usually figure it out myself. So,
Okay.
And then for my family, when they need somebody, they hire me usually to come help them out or fix this or fix that. So anyway, and a lot of times years ago when I'd go help my son, I'd say, okay, say it. He goes, say what? Say, Daddy, do the rescue. Anyway, so let me pop back into some pictures. Let's see what we got here. Oh, those are nice.
Those
Different
are my
types of
coasters.
infill.
Yep. Those are ones where I did like 6 perimeters and no top layer on just a simple shape in Prusa Slicer. Because in Prusa Slicer, you can add you can add a shape to the bed if you want. So like if you wanted to print a 20 millimeter cube, you don't need to go find one. You can just drop a cube on the build plate from within the slicer itself and scale it to 20 by 20 by 20 and print it. So what I did was I took that same concept. I threw a cube down there and I made it probably 100 by 100 by 5 and turned on some infill and turned off the top layers and gave it several perimeters. And I printed those in TPU. So I think they came out really well.
And my favorite print, wow. I don't know. I find something online. Oh, they're spongy. That's cool.
Well, they're TPU. They're flexible.
Okay. I tested some area on TPU and I printed a little Eiffel Tower and a few things. A little rocket ship. Let's see. That's TPU. All right. Here's a rocket ship I did a long time ago.
Okay.
An Eiffel Tower.
Squishy.
I've never really had much use for TPU. I mean, it was fun to play with. It printed with no problem with my extruders that I have on my printers from McU and 3D out of Florida.
Okay.
The extruder, it has a single gear. It's an all metal gear, and then on the side you feed your filament in, it's got a PTFE tube that goes all the way to the gear. And on the outlet side, it's got a steel shaft that comes up real close. That way the TPU won't back out of the boat. And so it works real good with TPU. I just have to slow down my prints, get it until it gets going.
Mm-hmm.
But the favorite print, I don't know. I've got hundreds of models. I have heads that I love that are great. I've got little statues. Every time I print something at that time, it's my favorite print.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't print it unless I like it. I mean, unless it's for my wife, then I don't like it. I just print it to make her happy. But yeah, I got all kinds of stuff here. So, and there's my 2 little buddies here on my desk, Chris and Joel.
Yep.
Let's see. What was chat saying? Jon Snow is my wife's favorite. Guy from Sanix, I printed a Jon Snow with his wolf. And currently, this is what I'm currently printing. That's my Hypercube and S3D. That's 400 by 400 by 500 build volume. So that's going to be a big Chucky.
Big, scary Chucky.
Yeah, I got that file off of CG Trader. I bought it like a year ago, and I only printed one about 2 or 3 inches tall in resin. And I'm finally going to print Chunky big, and that'll be for one of my videos that I'm working on right now.
It'll be a chunky Chucky.
Like 108 hours to print, 5% infill. My layers are 644 on it. So that'll be big. And that's on the Hypercube back here in the background going. And as you can see, it's way up here. So by the time it's done, this bed's going to be clear down here somewhere.
John saying, don't print that, run.
Yeah. Yeah, Chucky's pretty cool. I've always liked Chucky. So and here's what do we have here? Oh, it looks like a test tube.
That's a vacuum tube flash drive. So that is something that I made out of I have some old vacuum tubes, and I went and got like a shark bite fitting that's brass. And I pulled the insides out of it, and I used a Dremel and a drill and a file to get a little rectangle cut out of the base of it that was just big enough to stick a USB Type A connector. So I got a little 32 gig flash drive, and I took the flash drive apart, and it was one of those real low profile ones. So it doesn't take up a lot of space. And then I soldered an LED and a resistor across the power and the ground leads so that it'll light up. So I stuck an amber LED, so it looks like it's glowing, kind of orangey yellow when you plug it in.
That's very nice. Let's see what Chad has to say. Here's one of my dogs that came to visit. That's Sandy. She's like, pet me, give me bones. So that's my new dog. Then Nikita's my black one over here.
Hello, puppies.
Yeah. Hey, jump down, jump down. I'm talking to some people right now. Go play, go play. Let me pull that off the screen. A lot of your videos that you do are into electronics. You do tons and tons of electronic gadgets and gizmos.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I kind of have been going through there was an Elegoo Arduino kind of a starter kit thing that they sent me a while back. And they just wanted one little review video on it, but I kind of took it and ran. So I've been kind of going through the lessons on that and combining the lessons sometimes when it makes sense to. And I think I'm about due for another one. I try to do about one of those a month. Lately here, it's been about one every month and a half. It's been about a month and a half since I did the last one, so I need to do another one. But those are fun because you get to play with code, you get to play with electronics, and I like showing how you can use that stuff. And that one that I did a couple of weeks ago with the social distancing robo mouse, that was one that I had kind of come up with the idea with while doing the previous lesson. And that was the one using the ultrasonic sensor to detect how far something was. And I thought, well, if you can detect something within 6 feet, you could use a servo and make the servo raise a little stop sign.
Yeah.
So
have you actually worked the store yet?
No, I don't really go out much. I did take it to the office once and show a couple of people and they laughed, but it's actually quite unreliable, but it's funny when it works.
I ordered some stickers from Sticker Mule. I got 10 for $9, and recently they had a special where you'd get 50 for $9, but I missed out on that. So I printed these little ones up right here.
That's cool.
That's pretty cool. But then I had Robbie Mack. I paid him to make me a big banner for the back wall. Hopefully it'll be here within a week. And he took my logo, 3D printing and painting, and he put it up on the top like my Facebook group, and it's right across the top of the 3D HP. So for future stickers, I'll change it. And then Joe File, he's a moderator on my group, my Facebook group. He went ahead and added CNC, FDM, resin, and laser across the bottom. 4 words that look very nice. So I'll have to wait and see what my end result looks like. But obviously my banner won't say that it's across the bottom. So we'll see how it comes out. But they're pretty cool. And the only reason I got these are I'm going to mail you one, and everybody I know on YouTube or anybody that wants one, I want to mail a sticker to. Either these, I have like 7 or 8 to mail out. Then when I buy more in the near future, I'll mail them out to everybody that wants a sticker. So if you want to put on your car tires, you drive down the street, you can see me, whatever you're going to do with the sticker. So, anyway, let me grab my dogs a bone. If you want to talk to chat for a minute, I'm going to grab them a bone real quick.
All right. Well, let's see. Peter was leaving, so see you later, Peter. Laughing at Michael Cassell, saying you paid Robbie, you probably paid too much. Oh, what else is going on? There's Jim. Hi, Jim.
Alrighty.
Welcome back.
EduTech Jim. That was an awesome video you did on that laser printer. I watched it today. I gave you a comment about in the middle of the video, and then I kept watching it. And I realized why you held off on putting prints on my Facebook group. You wanted to get the video out first, and then you posted your prints. That's amazing. You've done an awesome job. I can't, thank you enough for sharing that. It's really good. And in the near future, like I say, when I can afford to get into something like that, I will. I love the work that you're doing, and I need to make goodies like that too. So anyway.
Yeah, I like Jim's technique for getting the different darknesses or lightnesses of the color.
Yeah, and some of Jim's earlier videos when he was still learning a lot of things, he was still trying to get down, I guess, talking to the camera and explaining how he was doing it, but he's getting really good at it. And most of his videos have been excellent since then. It's just a few of the early ones were kind of rocky. And you originally, when you read off your teleprompter, when I first started watching you, it was obvious that you were reading off a teleprompter, And, you know, it's something you have to get used to. And I've only done it once. And I told everybody on screen it's kind of hard to get used to. The news people, they're professionals. They're probably 6 or 10 feet away, and you can't see their eyes tracking the words. So it's when you can see your eyes tracking the words, it gets kind of hard. You have to get the letters really big and have it back really far.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that and having a pane of glass at 45 degrees.
Yeah.
So that you got the camera behind the glass, and you've got the text source shooting up the glass so you can see it reflected. That way, when you're reading it, you're looking through the words at the camera.
Here's one I built that I've never used yet. I got a stand off Amazon like I have my camera on. And then I have a piece of glass here. I took a picture, you know, that I had in the cupboard. Used to have pictures of my son all over the walls. Built a little box, and I got a tablet down here below it, an Acer tablet. So same basic principle, and then I'll put a black towel or something over it. Camera goes in the hole behind it. I've just never used it yet.
Yeah, that is almost exactly what I've got. I just made a box out of black foam core board, and I printed a couple of supports to hold the glass at 45 degrees. And then I just stick my iPhone in there. Hello.
Hi. Which question?
Hi, Brian.
Hi, how's it going?
I just got my Ender 3.
Okay, I'll go back to it. You go back to a question my wife's telling me about.
Okay.
She's my director from another room if I missed something. Okay, here it is. For Mylan Wallace.
Just got an Ender 3.
V2.
Big E3 V2, Microswiss hot end.
Well, when I E3 V2, Big Tree Tech. Well, what I would do when you first buy an Ender 3 is I would get it running, get it working perfectly fine, get it printing fine, and then as you need to upgrade it, don't right out of the box start upgrading, because when something doesn't work right, you're going to be lost as to what caused the problem. So you want to always make it work out of the box fine and then upgrade one thing here and there. I use all solid hot ends on all my printers. They have all worked fine. I don't do glow in the dark. There's a lot of filaments I haven't tried, so I've never had a reason to upgrade from an MK8 or 10 and to change it. I always put Capricorn tube or TH3D tough tube on all my printers because the white PTFE running higher temperatures, the end will burn. You got to go in and clip it. You don't want to lose or have a print fail because you had to clip it. If you run a higher tolerance tube, sure, eventually it'll burn also, but it'll take a lot longer. And, you know, so go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, I will say that I do like my my Microswiss all metal hot ends, and the BTT E3 V2 board, or the whichever one it is. I've got one of those in an Ender 3 or an Ender 3 Pro, and I put that in there mainly to quiet the thing down. Just for the silent drivers is why I stuck it in there. Not so much for the 32-bitness of it, but just for the silent stepper drivers.
Just trying to catch up with chat. And I'm going the wrong direction, but hello, Chris Travis, Dr. Jekyll, hello, how you doing? If you guys come in late, please watch the stream later tomorrow, or if you get bored at work. You know, one thing that's good about live streams, I've noticed on the count, a lot of times people don't re-watch them that often. I guess it depends who you have on. And you never know what somebody might mention or bring up. And people's like, well, it's live, I missed it. Well, it doesn't matter. I mean, if you wanted to comment, you want to drop in live. But if there's too many people in the stream, then your question may not get answered or you may not get recognized. I always do my best to say something to everybody. If some of my guest is talking, then I try to pop it up on the screen. He says he was thinking the same way.
Yeah. I wouldn't buy a printer and a set of upgrades and immediately install them necessarily. If it was my first time with that printer, I would probably want to get used to the printer first and then see what it needed. But if you've got an Ender 3 and you've got essentially a silent board, I'd say probably put it in. It's not going to hurt anything to do it.
The Ender 3 V2, the springs they came with are those real light duty ones, not the heavy duty yellow ones that are flat on the top. Once you compress, they're hard to compress. So once I cranked down my bed and I slid the bed back, the heater underneath was running into my stepper motor cover. So then I had to take a lot of tension off. And if the springs are too weak, you take off too much tension while you're printing, your wheel's going to loosen up and you're going to lose your print. So I automatically went to yellow springs. And if I put an easy ABL on it, which I probably will here in the near future, when Tim gets that worked out with that printer, I'll either crank the springs down really tight and leave them, or I'll put solid bed mounts on. Either way would work fine. Either have the springs rock tight or solid bed mounts. And never use red Loctite on anything. Red Loctite, good luck trying to get it loose. Use blue Loctite.
Well, yeah, red Loctite will also kill some plastics.
Eat it up.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see what we got here on some pictures. We don't have any pictures. Oh, yeah, we do. I can show you one of my dogs. For those of you who haven't seen my two dogs that were just on camera, the black dog is Nikita, named after a show I used to love to watch called Nikita. And Sandy is my new dog that I've had for about a month now. She's a Sandy. The brown and white one is a terrier boxer mix. Nikita is a black Jack, which is Jack Russell Labrador. And they're both medium-sized dogs. They're both wonderful animals.
Oh, I was petting the puppy.
Oh, okay. And my hobby room, I've done some more rearranging since my last video last week. I took my table that used to be lined up with the Hypercube, I turned it sideways, and now I love it. It's like a big pyramid, so I have all this room behind me to walk around. Before, when I got out of my chair, I'd have to be really careful turning around because I didn't want to run into my printers that were behind me, so I have a ton of room. And then you can see my monitors there, and then I have those lights angled up towards the ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's
I've got a couple of similar light boxes over here that are aimed at the ceiling, just to kind of get some relatively bright yet indirect light.
I used to have them pointed at me, but I was too bright on camera. So then I went into my Logitech software for the Brio, and then I changed my sharpness. I think it is.
Mm-hmm.
The brightness on it.
Exposure is probably what you'd want to adjust.
So it's fairly dark in here right now, other than these two box lights aimed toward the ceiling. But the lighting looks pretty good, I think.
Yeah. Good night, Scott.
Take care, Scott. Thank you for stopping by.
Yeah, I can't have those lights aimed right at me because I've got reflective things on my face.
Yeah, I met Jester last night. He popped into my live stream. He's got quite a voice for radio.
Yeah, I heard him doing the voiceover kind of thing. That was kind of fun.
There's another big YouTuber, streamer, content creator is the word I wanted to use. He does a lot of OBS videos. I can't think of his name offhand, but he's a young guy and has a really super, super deep voice. It's pretty amazing to hear the man talk.
Cool.
Here's a question for you from Chris Travis. Do you still have linear rails on your Ender 3?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Still have that 3D fused X, Y, and Z axis kit on that printer.
I've never tried linear rails.
I put a couple of drops of oil on the rails the other day just to maintain them. That's one of the things that I like about those rails as opposed to the wheels is that the wheels tend to build up that kind of dust. So you have to keep the wheels wiped down. I've noticed under the bed of my Ender 3, it's kind of getting real kind of crusty on those wheels. So I have to kind of keep that area wiped down. But the rails don't do that. So from a maintenance point of view, the rails, I think, are a little better. From a print quality standpoint, given the rather pedestrian speeds at which I print, I don't really think it makes much of a difference.
Jim, to your question, every time I've ever done a stream, I have my guests send me pictures. They either email them to me or through Facebook, PM me on Messenger. And then I go into StreamYard once I download it to my hard drive, and I go into brands. And under brands, you scroll down to where you can add your pictures. And let's see if I can give you an exact name, what it's called. Overlays. Where it says overlays, you just hit the add button. It shows it on your hard drive. You click it. And then as people are talking, you just click on the picture, pop it up, and then pop it off. But what I don't like about this is if I want to show comments and show pictures, I got to go back and forth between the tabs. But yeah. And then when you go to create your next stream, you go in and just delete all that person's pictures from the prior week and add the new ones. So it's above the timers where you got your video clips, like the 30-second timer right above that, the category right above it's where I add the pictures. I hope if that helps you out. They wipes down his printers every couple of months. Yeah, here in Vegas, it gets pretty dusty, and every so often I wipe them down. Or I gotta, instead of bringing my compressor hose in the house, putting the compressor out back and blowing everything off, I'll tend to, I bought it. Here's what I bought, actually. Let me show you. It doesn't hold air for very long. But I got an air tank on a flex hose with an air gun on the end. I take this out in the garage and fill it up because your extruder gets clogged with filament, you know, from clicking occasionally or whatever, and then I'll blow things off here and there. And obviously, when you clean off a fan, like on a computer or something like that, or whatever it may be, hold the fan so you don't over rev it and burn it up. Customize image in Photoshop to be on the side opposite the guest.
Yeah, like if you were to make a new PNG of the same proportions as the screen and just slide the image over to the one side and then save that out and then load that in the StreamYard maybe.
I know there's an option here to make us small and then show the picture, but I'm not sure. Let me pull up a random picture. Let's go back to this cool printer here. And let me check out my buttons down here. No, that made you small, but it left me big. No, that's just me. I thought I'd done it last night when I had some people on. I just don't know how I did it. There we go. That's really big for close-ups. I like this one better. I got a different backdrop. I got on, and every week I get on to Google and I Google pics or pictures of space, whatever, and then I import a different backdrop. So, do you have any teasers of any upcoming projects you're working on, if you might want to share or not?
Everything's in my head right now. I don't have anything on video. I've got a couple of scripts kind of in progress. I need to do an Ender 3v2 review. I need to do an artillery sidewinder review. I think I've got maybe one or two other ones that I kind of need to do, and then I don't know. I don't have anything scheduled on YouTube right now, so if I don't get a video done this week, there's not going to be one for Monday. I'll put it that way. I would like to be able to have a bunch of them kind of banked up, but sometimes it's rough with work, and I don't have time to just sit down and concentrate and think of the projects that I want to do. And sometimes I do think of them, and then it's too late because I might need to print 20 hours worth of stuff to get props for the video, and I don't always have that time.
And then, tape little segments, and then you might mess up or you put the wrong shirt back on, and then you got to go back and retape it. Editing is what's really hard. Editing sucks. And some people edit great, some people are so-so, and I'm kind of the so-so category. And yes, Mike, that was the man's name, Epoch's Box, from Never Let the Machines Win. That's the man, exactly. I watch his videos quite a bit. And yeah, editing is fun. And all the time I learn different tricks. And I use Movie Studio Platinum 16. And I've seen videos on it. There's so many things you can do with it as far as for animation, but I have to learn how. But I pick up little tidbits here and there. And like when I go to different screenshots, I flip the screen. There's like 30 different options where I can transition from one screen to another. Occasionally, I might forget something in the middle of what I'm doing, so I'll tape it and just let it run together. And like with most videos, you see somebody jump a little bit where they split it. And
yeah, I have a trick for hiding that. And the trick is when you've got a cut like that, at the second part of it, zoom in a little bit.
Okay, so it jumps on and zoom in and you don't notice it.
Right.
Now zoom in when you tape it or zoom in when you edit it?
During the editing process.
Okay,
if you can crop the video to something smaller that fills the frame, that'll essentially zoom it.
Okay. Then you wouldn't notice the jump. Okay.
Yep.
I'll have to try that. Let's see. Jester Sony Pro Vegas was like $25. Humble deal. I'm happy with it. Yeah, I started out with like 14, and like a year after it's been out, they dropped the price. So around every Christmas or so, I get the next version. I think I pay 50 or $60. I'm on 16 right now. So I just don't know how to use a lot of the features. And are you married, have kids, or have any pets?
Yes, and yes. I've been married to the same person since 1990, so it's kind of quite a while. We haven't killed each other yet, so that's good. I've got a 10-year-old girl who's in 5th grade now, virtual 5th grade, and a couple of cats. So,
yeah, have you ever had any problems with the cats and the heaters on the bed? Some cats getting on your printer? Do you keep them out of the room, or how does that work? Because cats don't listen.
They don't jump up on stuff. They'll get up on furniture, but they don't get up on desks. They don't get up on counters. They do get up on the bed, which is fine. The actual bed in the bedroom, not the heated bed on a printer. But they tend to be pretty well behaved.
Strange to ask. What's strange to ask, Marcel? Am I asking him too many questions? So, you know, a lot of people that are online, they don't want to talk about their personal life, but I always ask my guests in advance before I stream, are these questions okay? So I wouldn't spring anything on Bryan he doesn't already know that I'm going to ask, or anybody else, because that'd be kind of awkward. And then, you know, hey, Henry, how you doing? Glad to see you're here. We're just about to wrap up the stream, but thank you for stopping in. Please watch it later. So,
hi, Henry.
Anything you'd like to ask anybody in chat, or anything you'd like to say, Bryan? We're going to start wrapping this up.
I don't know. I got nothing.
No?
Someone was unhappy that I hadn't made any puns.
Yeah,
I saw that early in the chat, but I don't know. I'm sitting here talking about myself. I don't really have many puns coming to mind.
Yeah, a lot of my ideas, I might be in bed sleeping, and then I'll get a crazy idea, and I'll have to write it down and make a video about it. Rearranging this room came to me when I was laying down one night. It's like, why don't you turn it this way and do that and do this? So I got up in the middle of the night, dead tired, and I'm looking at it, and I'm measuring stuff, and then I went back to bed. So it all came together pretty good.
Okay.
So anyway, anybody that's watching, please like, subscribe, share the video. Ring the bell so the next time I go live or do a video live stream, you'll be notified. I have links below to Bryan's channel at BV3D, Bryan Vines. There's a link below. If you like some discounts on some products, there's a lot of links. There's a lot of stuff in the description below the video. And not really sure what else to say. So let me pop you out of here a minute, Bryan, and I will be back with you in 1 second.
Okay.
Ta-da. Anyway, I'd like to thank everybody for stopping by. And next week, I've got a really super special guest on. I'm not going to say who it is, but this weekend when I make the post, you'll see who he is. So I hope you like, subscribe, share. Happy printing, everybody. And please come back and, come back next week. And like I say, I'll be doing a hangout here soon. I done one last night for like 3 hours. I didn't expect it to go that long, but it was. And once 3 hours was up, if somebody else would have jumped in, I might have even been going longer. So that way everybody has time to talk and we discuss anything hobby related, 3D printing, laser, anything like that. So thank you very much. Thank you. Take care, everybody, and have a good night. Happy printing.